as you see all the players draped in the flag of Ukraine. Only 22 years old, former Dynamo Kyiv player, the Everton captain tonight, Vitaly Mykolenko.
From soccer to hockey to basketball, all around the world, athletes and fans are rallying around Ukraine as the international sports world imposes their own sanctions against the invasion. The International Paralympic Committee banned Russian and Belarusian athletes from participating in those games, which started today. On Monday, FIFA and the Champions League suspended all Russian international and club soccer teams. Formula One racing canceled competitions held in Russia or Belarus and banned both countries' flags and anthems. The International Tennis Federation suspended both countries from membership or participation. Even EA Sports announced that in solidarity with Ukrainian people, it would remove the Russian national team and Russian clubs from the FIFA 2022 video game. NBA legend, former Los Angeles Laker Kareem Abdul-Jabbar says he's glad to see the sports world stepping up, writing earlier this week that by banning all Russian teams from competing in any international sports, we are affirming that Russia's actions are unacceptable, that anyone representing their country, even though the athletes may be innocent pawns, will not be welcome. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar joins me now. I really liked what you had to write and about the power here. It's remarkable to see these scenes across the world where you realize that sports is so much of how these issues might come into people's lives or how they might think of them first and foremost because sports fans are so enthusiastic. What do you see as the role of sports bodies first and foremost in this conflict?
Well, it's nice to be with you, Chris. I think the people around the world that are sports enthusiasts can add to the pressure that everybody's trying to apply to the horrible actions of the Russian state. And, sports is usually something that teaches you about fair play, teamwork, and it extends the limits of human performance in these world records that are set during many of these games. So we have to rein that in because these totalitarian countries are just using it as propaganda and for their way of life, and we see what their way of life has ended up with. It's horrible what we're seeing going on in Russia.
Do you think there's a distinction between athletes, like Russian athletes who may be competing, and official, say, Russian national teams and things like FIFA are holding events in Russia? Because I think there's an argument to be made that, Russian athletes can't control what their government does. We saw that one Russian tennis player very bravely write "No to War" on the camera lens. How do you think about that distinction between those two?
Well, I think the ordinary Russian citizen, which includes athletes, they have something to say in this. Of course, the people in charge aren't listening to them, but they have something to say. The world is seeing that they, too, condemn what's going on. So that encourages the people in Ukraine, and hopefully it will help them make the points that they need to make against the Russian government.
The other argument on the other side, right, is that, and you see this with the Olympics, right, this always gets very fraught in the Olympics because all kinds of countries participate in the Olympics with all kinds of countries with different regimes doing all kinds of things, right? And there's this idea that actually, contrary to what you're arguing, it should be the opposite, that sports, particularly things like the Olympics or the Paralympics, should be distinguished from the politics of these regimes, that it's a place for people to come together across lines of difference. What do you think of that argument?
Well, I think athletes have something to say, and when they get together and promote something, whatever it is, like in 1984, the United States did not go to the Olympics, and we felt we had good reasons to do that. So I think it all depends. People weren't getting murdered and killed in the streets by, a modern armed forces. And there's a big difference between what was happening then and what's happening now. What we're seeing in the streets of the Ukraine cities is horrific.
Do you think the cessation of sports and the sort of discontinuation of it, knowing that, I mean, FIFA, for instance, is a huge deal, right? The entire world follows the World Cup. That will have reverberations with a populace that will be being sent some kind of message that may be outside of what they're learning from state media.
I think it adds pressure, and all the pressure we can put on Russia to stop this is necessary. This is something that must end. So we have to use the feelings and thoughts of all segments of society, and that includes athletes.
I want to play something. Alexander Ovechkin, who's a very, very, very acclaimed hockey player in the National Hockey League. He's from Russia, has been quite a big outspoken supporter of Vladimir Putin through the years, has been asked about to sort of make comments on this. And, I go back and forth on whether it's fair to ask athletes to sort of answer for their country. And I thought this response from him was interesting and perhaps telling. I'm curious to get your reaction. Take a listen to what he said.
I'm Russian, right? Sometimes like something I can control, it's not in my hands. How I said, like, I hope it's gonna end soon, and it's gonna be peace in both countries, and I don't control this one.
What do you think of that?
Well, I think Alexander suggested that the NHL deny payment to the Russian hockey players, and we can't punish all Russians for the actions of the government leadership, but we can support them in their protests, and make it possible for them to be visible and heard. We can do that, and I think that will have an effect.
Yeah, that was Dominik Hasek, actually, who had recommended the NL repeatedly suspending contracts for all Russian players, saying that every athlete represents not only themselves, but also the nation they come from. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, what a pleasure to have you, sir. Thank you very much.